Hi, I'm Kaylee, and today I'm going to tell you why I don't read contemporary YA. In case you didn't know, Books from K's is a charity that donates books to missionary kids. If you want to donate to the kids, you can do so at GoFundMe.com. There's a link down in the description and a button at the end of this video where you can donate to the kids. I was thinking about doing this video because I was kind of looking through the types of books that I always read, and it's mostly classics and fantasy, And then I was thinking, what are some contemporary books that I've read, like books that have been written in the last 20 or 30 years? And first of all, I just don't read that many contemporary books. I don't know, I just don't tend to jump on the bandwagon when a new book comes out. Sometimes I do. Lunar Chronicles, looking at you. But somehow, most of the time, I'm not really reading what everybody else is reading. I'm kind of just off doing my own thing. So I started to think specifically about contemporary YA, not YA fantasy, not YA like mystery or paranormal, because I read a lot of YA fantasy or paranormal or things, or sci-fi or whatever. But I'm talking about just straight up contemporary YA. They're in the modern world with cell phones and cars and all. And, there's no magic and there's no vampires and, they're not on their way to a space station or something. And I literally cannot think of a single just plain contemporary YA book that I have ever read. Ever. They're all paranormal and fantasy and Greek gods and stuff. So I started thinking, why is it that I'm just not attracted to this genre? I'm just not at all attracted to this. Why do I never pick up these books? I see them all the time on BookTube. I see them all the time in bookstores. These are some of the most hyped up and advertised books. I recognize the covers. I recognize the titles. I even know the authors. I see them all the time. Why don't I read them? So I started kind of thinking about it and figuring out, here are my reasons why I don't read them. First of all, I never went to high school, and probably like 80% of contemporary YA is all about kids in high school. I was homeschooled for 10 years, and I loved it, and I was very social, don't worry, I wasn't like isolated or something. I had tons of friends, and I was always hanging out with them, and I had a very full social life. But I never went to a normal high school. I was homeschooled and I did very well and I graduated with honors, so don't worry. It was a good experience. Now, I did go to a tiny little Christian school my senior year of high school. So I got to graduate with a class of, wait for it, 16 people. There were 16 people in my class, in my graduating class. So, even then, it was a very small little, experience. It was not like a regular public high school kind of experience like most people have. And I think that's why, a big reason about why I'm just not interested in reading about kids in high school. I never experienced that. I have no point of reference for that. I watch Mean Girls, and to me, that's like some kind of crazy foreign world. Not that every high school is like Mean Girls, I'm sure. But yeah, it's like I'm just not attracted to that because I don't relate. I just don't relate to that. Another thing that I think is just kind of an experience in my life that I have never had, and which I think can often be a big theme found in contemporary YA. I mean, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But I have never done drugs, I have never smoked a cigarette, and I have never had an alcoholic drink in my life. I am 36 years old, and those things have just never attracted me. I just don't want to put those things in my body, So I've never really experienced peer pressure about those kind of things, because all the people that I would hang out with when I was a teenager or when I was in my 20s, they were also the kind of people who were not interested in drugs or smoking or drinking. I don't know what to tell you. I've never experienced peer pressure about those things, and I feel like one of the main themes possibly in contemporary YA is about peer pressure. and you know, your friends are out partying and drinking, and you are peer pressured to also do the same. I don't know. So that's just another aspect of that genre of books that I have no point of reference for that. I have never experienced that, either by doing drugs or smoking, I've never done that, or even being pressured into doing it by my peers. I've never experienced that either. So I'm just sitting here kind of like, Another reason why I think that contemporary YA just does not make any kind of impression on me is that I didn't actually grow up in the United States. I grew up in Mexico as a child from the time I was 5 until I was 17, which is one of the main reasons why I was homeschooled as a kid. My parents were missionaries in Mexico, and that's the whole reason why I started Books for MKs, is because I wanted to reach out to other missionary kids who are out, in a foreign country. When I was a kid, I could never get enough books down in Mexico, books in English. And so that's why I started this charity, was to reach out to kids who grew up like me. And I feel like a lot of contemporary YA is all about the U.S. experience, the U.S. high school experience. And I never had a high school experience, and I did not grow up in the U.S. So it's just kind of, Now, if you had, a book about a homeschooled Mexican kid, man, I would be all over that. I would definitely be interested in reading that book. Another reason is I'm just kind of an old-fashioned soul. I've always been just kind of an old soul. Even when I was a kid, my mom would be like, Kaylee, what are you, in your 30s? And now I am in my 30s. And I don't know. I mean, okay, my favorite actor is Gene Kelly. My favorite actress is Debbie Reynolds. My favorite singer is Frank Sinatra. You know what I'm saying? I'm an old soul, and all of those things are from way before I was born. But still, I just love old-fashioned things. And so anything that's contemporary, I'm just kind of not really interested, don't really care. I find history and the past to be so much more interesting than the present. I'm just not hip to that modern jive, Another reason is that I don't know because I haven't read any, but when I read like the synopsis on the back cover of a contemporary YA, I feel like the romance would bore me. I feel like I would just be completely bored with the romance. I feel like I need more depth, I need some kind of adventure going on, or something where, everything's on the line for our characters. And I feel like these are just fluffy little reads that don't have a lot of depth to them. Not that I'm against a good fluff read. I love me a good fluff read every once in a while. But somehow when I read that synopsis of whatever that contemporary YA is, it tends to be like, oh, her boyfriend broke up with her and, whatever, there's some kind of romance going on. And I read the little blurb about the romance and I go, that sounds really boring. I don't know, maybe I'm prejudging those books based on the blurb. Maybe the romance would be really deep and amazing and I would just love it. I don't know. Okay, so the point is I need recommendations. I want to try. I want to just try. Even though this genre has never interested me before, I am willing to give it a shot. So I need you down in the comments to recommend to me what is a contemporary YA that you think I would really enjoy. I mean, you've heard all my stuff. I'm not interested in, the little high school story. I'm not interested in, the story about the peer pressure. I'm not interested, man, what is wrong with me? I cannot talk today. I'm not interested in the shallow romance. I want a book that, I want a book that delivers. Leave me a comment down below and tell me, what should I read? Just tell me to read something because I don't even know where to start. And leave me a comment and let me know. Am I just being completely prejudiced against this genre? Am I just completely wrong in all my assumptions about this genre? I don't know. Maybe I am. I'm willing to try. I'm willing to, give it a shot and just see what happens. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.